Jake, how special was it to wear the Knighthawks jersey this year?
I do remember when I was younger, I was watching, Cody Jamieson, all those guys in the purple and teal. When I was real young, coming to Rochester from Syracuse and watching these games. So, from the first step when I got that call from Dan Carey on draft day, and then to wear that first jersey against Halifax, over there, and then to wear it on the home field, it was an honor. And I never thought I would be in this place, playing this game, playing in front of these fans and stuff. So it was pretty awesome.
You're sort of saying it there, but it sounds like a full circle moment. I don't know, that first moment in November, are you looking around? Are you thinking of, I sat in those seats?
100%. I think just professional lacrosse in general. When I was younger, I always told my dad that I was going to play professional lacrosse, whether that was indoor or outdoor. And now I'm doing it for real. So it's full circle. I knew when I was younger I wanted to do this, and now I'm doing it. And now I just got to keep on improving. And when I did play that first game in Blue Cross, I think I did scope around, and I was like, holy cow! Like, I'm actually going to play. For real, not just warm up and sit up in the box. I was actually going to be out on that floor, playing in front of the fans. So it was full circle, and I'm very honored to have that experience.
Some of the individual players or staff members that really helped you throughout this first season?
I think first, like all the Rochester guys, like Ryland, Coatsy, Brad, Jensen, even T-Mac on the offensive end, having them by my side throughout all of this, and me moving to Rochester, and, them having my back throughout training camp, and, teaching me the ways. And every time I got off the floor, they were telling me if I did something right, did something wrong. So I think those guys really helped me out in the early stages, but I think everyone, the coaches, Patty, Coach Hazer, they all, helped me throughout the whole season. Every defender, Gillies, I can name them all, but they all helped me in some type of way to be comfortable on the floor and, really try to get my potential out in this first year. And, like I said, it's just time to keep on improving and take their words and continue learning and be better.
Similar question that I just asked your teammate. Talk a little bit about Coach and kind of the relationship you've developed with him throughout the season.
I think first, same thing with what Taylor said. At first you're a little bit, on edge. You're like, I don't want to make him mad, and you don't want to mess up at all with anything, with any of the coaches. You don't want to disappoint your teammates or anything. But I think just like Taylor said, like when you get comfortable with the coaches and they start gaining that trust in you and everything, it starts getting easier, and you start developing that relationship a little bit more. So I'm definitely excited to continue playing for him. He's an awesome coach, and just like I said, he's taught me so much stuff along this first season, so I can't wait for next season.
Kind of, the younger group of guys, how important is this off season and this next couple months?
I think it's huge, just continuing to, obviously we're not playing in the playoffs, so it's important to continue watching it and continue learning. I think me and Graydon and I guess Sisselberger is considered a rookie, so next year we're not rookies. We don't have that pass anymore, so we got to continue learning and be even better next year. And we're not those first year players anymore, so we got to act like veterans, and we got to gain that trust in our teammates and our coaches.
Big thing that you're hoping to work on these next couple months?
Just learning more of the game, and obviously I didn't have as much experience before I came here, so I learned a lot in this first year, but it's kind of just learning the nuances of the game and learning the little stuff that I can do to be better. And, I have a particular type of skill set in this game, and I like to push the ball and I like to play offense, but I also like to make those plays on defense. So it's kind of figuring out better ways to be able to do that every single time I'm out there on every shift during the games.
Our way, the Bandits are punching their ticket to another title. Is that a motivating factor at all? Obviously, you guys want to get there, but knowing they're so close geographically, like, hey, we want to get there.
I think everyone in this town kind of doesn't really like Buffalo, but they're a great team, and they've been doing it consistently for the past 4 years. So it's kind of just finding that way to get on their level. You can't really say that you are better than them until you top them. So it's kind of just continuing to play our game and get to that type of level that they're playing at, and hopefully it turns out our way during the regular season, but it all comes down to the playoffs and getting to that final game.
Jake, I've got one for you. So you're one of several draftees from the Upstate Collegiate Box Lacrosse League. How much did it help you make the transition to the program?
It helped a lot. I think beforehand, I started getting those, articles written about me, all this stuff about how, he might get drafted in the NLL, he might be here, he might be there. So I think in my head, I needed to kind of gain that experience beforehand. So the UCBLL was right in my backyard, and it really helped me kind of gain a little bit of experience. It's definitely a lot faster in the pro level, but I think it helped me gain that experience. And having Coatsy and Ryland as my coaches were huge. They helped me kind of learn the defense before I even came here. So I think having that season beforehand definitely helped me gain the experience and be more comfortable when I was there during training camp.